Hey everyone, welcome back to the Abom79 podcast. I'm Adam Booth.
Oh, I'm Abby Booth.
There you go. I'm trying to get used to this intro. It's a little bit different, because I'm just so used to saying, "Hey, welcome back to the shop."
Yeah.
But we'll get it.
Yeah.
We'll get it figured out. We honestly can't even remember what exact episode this is now because we have been trying to record these a little ahead of time, and then Abby is doing the editing on all these.
I was thinking that there was going to be zero possibility that I would forget what we talked about, and I was wrong. I was immediately wrong because we've repeated ourselves, and I'm so sorry. I take great notes. I have these planned out, and I still repeated things in the episodes. Oh well. So I apologize if you what are these people losing their minds? Yes, they are.
That was validated this week. I was listening to one of the Business of Machining podcasts with John and John. And one of the things, I believe it was John Saunders that said it, that he cannot keep up with all the things that they have talked about, whether they have talked about it or not talked about it. And they said that it is kind of difficult keeping up with that.
Yeah.
If you don't do a good job of keeping notes on it. So, Abby's been keeping really good notes on all the subjects that we want to talk about, which is tools and projects and business and the machine shop.
Focus in on that first word that you said, because this episode is going to be about tools.
That's right.
I'm really excited. Are we going to repeat a tool? I don't know, probably.
Hopefully. So here we are. We're going to talk about tools, and I hope that we don't do another episode in a few weeks down the road and we talk about the same tool. We are taking notes, as we said,
yes.
But if we repeat something, we apologize. It's just the way it goes. This is really off the cuff, with a few simple notes of subjects that we wanted to talk to you guys about, and this gives us another outlet to be able to just have a discussion that's not necessarily a project-related video for YouTube. And the other thing I was going to mention too is that we've already said we don't know what we're doing, that we're learning, right? We put the first 2 episodes up on YouTube, and I realized it was this week that I realized that the podcasts of those episodes were still listed as private. So
I have no idea how that happened.
It was only video, and I thought this whole time, those 2 weeks, that it was on the podcast side of YouTube. So
that's my bad.
We're gonna learn. We've got a new one that we're getting ready to upload today or tomorrow for the next one. You guys are going to be seeing it this time. And we're going to continue to learn and try to get better and make this a little bit more efficient. But for right now, it's working.
Yeah, and for me personally, having edited them, I don't want you guys just to stare at our faces the whole time. So I know that this is supposed to be podcast format, so people are supposed to be able to listen in their car if they wish. But you guys have been watching the videos, and we appreciate that. So I am going to work harder at making sure that it's actually entertaining if you're going to watch it and not just staring at you and me staring at each other. So we're going to just keep on working it. Keep on working it.
Yep. And as Abby said, hopefully it's something that you can enjoy listening to in your headphones while you work or in your car, or you can pull it up on YouTube and watch it that way as well. So obviously if you do watch it on YouTube, there's going to be some things in there that Abby's going to be trying to add in.
Yes.
Some tools or some footage that we took, just some additional things that kind of brings out a little bit more enjoyable.
Yeah, and if they listened to / watched another episode, again, I don't know when this one's coming out in regards to that one, but I added the material that Adam's dad saved, I guess, from the Jaws 2 thing. So I went ahead and added it to our podcast room because it's such a cool thing, and now I'm a part of that story, I guess, because it's behind me. So I think that's just really cool.
And I'll say, we wanted to go out and find that material, and I knew where I stashed that material whenever I moved everything into the shop, because it was underneath the wooden workbench, the very bottom up against the brick wall.
But it wasn't.
And we went out there to look for it, and they weren't there. I'm like, oh no. I hid them from myself, and where did I put them? So I went looking everywhere. I couldn't find it. We were out there in the garage, which is like the overflow storage that I cannot wait to clean out. And I was like, they have to be here. So I moved the ladder, and I climbed all the way up to the top, It was all the way on the top shelf, all the way over against the wall, and I saw the side. I'm like, there they are. I found them. You know, so
we have them now. So now they're in here. I like that.
Yeah, they're gonna be preserved and taken care of. And
I still want to do more research on that, because I was hoping that like maybe the local Pensacola library, they're a new one just opened up. I was hoping that maybe I could go and look at some history of it or whatever.
That's a good idea.
I've never done that before, and I've always wanted to. So I think maybe I might just start there and see how it goes. Yeah, because I think adding to that or getting some other information about that would be very cool. So
I agree.
Yeah,
and you have time because they just celebrated 50 years for Jaws 1.
Exactly.
And so there's technically only 2 or 3 years until Jaws 2 is 50, and so maybe we can follow up on that in a couple years.
And I honestly think we should watch it, maybe tonight. We've been doing Star Wars like madness.
Yes.
So we decided did we talk about this already? I don't know. Here we go.
I don't think we did.
Okay, so we decided that we wanted to watch all of Star Wars, and I don't just mean the movies. I mean all of it. So they have a lot of cartoons sorry, it's not animated exactly. I wasn't trying to make light of that, but they have been incredibly wonderful. I love them, and it fills in all the gaps. Mm-hmm. So we started from the very beginning, and it is incredible how many episodes there are to watch. If you decide to go down this rabbit hole, I recommend it though.
It's awesome.
Disney Plus.
Let me just add to that. So we are talking about watching Star Wars in chronological order.
That's correct.
Not the order of release, but the chronological order from the very first, which would be The Acolyte, all the way until the very last movie that was made, which I cannot remember the name of that one now.
Well, Star Wars Rebels, loved it. It is animated. I thought it was so great. 4 seasons. Mm-hmm. It was really, really good.
Well, we both ended up, so as I said, we've been watching these in order.
Yeah.
And I found a list online that shows the entire chronological order if you want to watch it in the timeline.
Yeah.
And we always skipped over the animated series because there's multiple seasons. There's like 20 episodes per season. We're like, wow, it's a lot. And we skipped over it, not realizing what kind of really great stories are in those animated series. It's not just a cartoon for kids.
No, it isn't at all, really.
It's another movie that they created, but into a short format. They're like 25 minutes long. And it tells a great story that you didn't know about in the Star Wars universe.
That's right.
And we ended up really loving the Bad Batch.
It's by far my favorite one.
The Bad Batch
I would
was
love
great.
for them to make that into, just because the characters are so awesome in that one.
I would have loved that to be a movie.
Exactly. But yeah, watch that one for sure.
Yeah. And so we just finished Rebels, Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
And Star Wars Rebels brings you right up to the point where Star Wars Rogue One begins.
That's right.
It's that story of how they got the plans, and are trying to run from the Empire. And then, so once you get through Rogue One, that leads into Star Wars Episode 4, New Hope, which is the very first one they ever made.
Yes.
So it's really cool seeing all these shows before the first movie was ever created. And you're tying in all these characters that you never really thought about before.
Yeah.
And then, so it gives rewatching it a whole new extra level, because now you're excited about going back because you thought you saw some characters that you didn't,
And you did.
So it ties it all together in a really good way.
But there's so many cool characters. You're like, I wonder what about that person. And this allows you to do that. It actually kind of gives you more information. So
yeah, exactly.
But also, we watched what is the Light and Magic. Because that is how this started for us.
It's called Light and Magic. So it's about George Lucas's company, Industrial Light and Magic.
Yes.
And it's a 2-season show about the history of his company, Industrial Light and Magic, from its infancy all the way up into current times.
So, all the painted scenes, all the models that they made. I mean, they basically created technology that we use today in order to make that first movie.
Many times.
I think that is incredible. I mean, if you are a Photoshop person, and you're a designer, a graphic designer of any kind, you have got to watch this because that Photoshop is in there because they needed that program to exist. And so anyway, it exploded my mind and I loved it. So I've really enjoyed this little Star Wars trek that we've been on.
Light and Magic is definitely a great show that I would recommend you watching. And so one of the things that I noticed in that show that really was touching to me personally was it was really, to me, it related to manual machining, the older ways of manufacturing and using manual machines, a lot of mechanically operated, hand operated machines, and how things slowly transitioned and changed into computer controlled machines, all the way up until what it is now with computer technology. It was very relatable to what happened in the movie industry for Light and Magic, going from having lots and lots of people that were creating props with their hands, painters, carpenters, model makers, machinists. They didn't touch on machining a lot, but if you look at things in Star Wars, like the lightsabers, a lot of this stuff is machined on mills and lathes, and they put this stuff together. So they go over this whole aspect of how they used to create all the things by, hand, and the way that they used to film all of those shots, like in Star Wars, and how it slowly evolved over time. And then went to digital. And then all of this hand creation started being phased out. People started losing their jobs because they didn't need as many model makers in there anymore creating things but with their hands, because it slowly started transitioning to computer animated.
That's right.
And they were forcing people that were so used to creating things with their hands to learn new technology, which is very similar to what I've been trying to do with my career the past couple of years. Is I'm going from manual machining and I'm trying to learn the computer and learn how to operate a CNC controlled machine. And so that's how it was relatable to me. But it was a great story, and I loved it, and we would recommend you guys watching that.
The older I get, the more I appreciate the old ways. We grew up in the 80s, and, it was awesome.
Well, in the Light
compared
Magic,
to now, everything's so different. So it's just, I like being able to have one foot in the past and one foot in the future all the time, because when I have to learn something new now, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
I don't know.
It's like, man, I got to learn that before I can do this. But when you watch Light and Magic and you see all these models that are being made for the movies, Star Wars is a perfect example, because everything was made. Everything was handmade. The details that they put, and a lot of the things that they created were never made before. So you have these talented people that are craftsmen, that are carpenters, that are model makers, that are painters, drawers, all that stuff. And they have to make all these aliens and monsters and dinosaur-looking
something
things.
That's never existed before.
It's never existed, so they just say, yeah, we can make that. And they go out to the shop and they just create this whole big monster. And sometimes they have to make it move, Sometimes they're like, when they're filming them, they're actually underneath them with their arms. And they're manipulating these things with their arms while the camera's filming, the model for the movie. It's really interesting. It's such a great show. I know we could go on and on about that. But all this stuff is on Disney Plus. That's one of the ones that we subscribe to. And it's well worth it, I think, for all the shows that are on there.
Well, we've mentioned Disney Plus twice now for Jaws, but that's okay.
Maybe they'll give us some kickback, some royalties out of it. Just kidding. Anyway, it's some good stuff for you guys to check out if you're interested in. But
well, let me take that transition straight into shopping in the shop.
Okay.
We talked about it before because Adam and I had an awesome time.
The best time.
A couple of weeks ago. It was a Saturday night. We went out to the shop, the home shop, and we went through toolboxes to find the things for this room and things that we knew we wanted to save. Well, we had such a good time, and we had more toolboxes left. Also, we had more beer that needed to be drank, and so we decided to go do it again. So
that was an important key to that story. Was we had a cold beer.
We did. We had some cold beer that deserved to be drank. Yeah.
Just let me say, no machines were operated on, nothing like that.
No.
This was just hanging out in the shop, having a cold beer, enjoying our company with each other, and Abby going through toolboxes.
Well, what's so fun, and this is what we kind of tried to capture before when we did Tool Tuesday, I think, because it's one of my personal favorite things about hanging out with you, is that every single thing in that shop in one way or another has a story. There's not a lot of things that he's like, I don't know. Like most of it's like, oh yeah, I got that at blah, blah, blah. Or my dad had that and I found that in this. And so obviously we love this old stuff anyway, but we went back out there, we found brand new things to bring in here. And that is basically the episode today.
Yep.
We want to go over some of these cool things that we found and let Adam tell the story about it. But then also it kind of ends up sparking, 10 other things.
Yep.
But that's what this is supposed to do. So
Yep.
I'm still in love with the boxes. I just cannot get over these old boxes that are for the cutters. Like this is the central micrometer one. I mean, they are just absolutely the most gorgeous things on earth. So I'll never tire of looking at these.
And I believe we talked about this before. I think we did. This is going back, and I don't remember what we talked about. But I think we talked about it in the last episode, is how much effort companies would put into packaging, into the paper products to represent their brand, their
Yes.
products. And that's something that kind of disappeared,
Well, print, has stopped being as relevant. I mean, it's very strange because like this, I'm just going to I don't know what these things are called. Like there's a technical term in some way. I am in love with these.
Yep.
So it's this is a Norton Abrasives, and it's just a wheel that you turn and it has like, what is this thing called? Like a rivet.
It's like a little brass rivet.
In the middle, and you can turn it to get the surface speed here. So
I think that is a speed feed chart for different grit Norton abrasive wheels. That one I totally forgot was even in one of the toolboxes, and Abby found it.
I have to create one of these. I don't know how to do this, and it doesn't matter. I'm just going to figure it out because I just think that this is the coolest.
What you just said, though, is what I think a lot of people have been doing the past 10 years. Let's say, I'm going to use our friend Jimmy DeResta as an example. He likes to create. That's what he's known for, is
Yes.
just making things, creating things. It's not necessarily something that he needs to make. He makes them because his interest is piqued.
Yeah.
Like he's been really into leather making. He's making these bags, but it's learning.
They're gorgeous.
It's teaching yourself and forcing yourself how to make something yourself. And that right there is a great example. I don't know if any companies around the world are still making those little charts like that, because we have
a lot of
we have another
ones.
one. Do you have the old drill, the derricks?
Oh yeah, this one.
That one right there, I'm sure a lot of people have seen this, and if you haven't, it's a really cool thing to have. That is a tap drill chart, and so you just rotate it to line up the bolt size, the thread size that you're looking for, and it gives you the information that you need, like the drill size. It tells you what diameter the hole is,
This one looks
There's-
old too.
So those were real common way back in the day. They're not common anymore. I don't think anybody's making those anymore.
This is a cool one.
Yeah, I
This
bought a
one
few
is-
of these, and it's an example of how a vernier caliper works. And Starrett made those.
That's so cool.
And I bought those from Kenny at the Flywheeler show. The height gauge is up there on the top shelf, and then that's the vernier caliper. And there was another one. It's the micrometer. And I don't know why they made these. I don't know what they were made for or who they went to. But what it does is this is a really great way to show you how to read a micrometer.
Yeah.
So these maybe were handed out in schools, maybe colleges, maybe technical schools. I'm not really sure, because these would be really inexpensive to acquire to hand out to a bunch of students versus buying an actual tool. So, and I don't know if that's how they were, what they were intended for or not, but nobody's making this kind of stuff anymore.
Yeah.
And a lot of really high quality went into making this. And here's that little, rivet that we're talking about. So in order to make this, you just need a little arbor press. And I'm just kind of going off of what I think it works here. You need to have the little piece of material. It's like it's a little piece of sheet metal, a little piece of tubing. And you have to stick it together, and you have to press it with an arbor press, and have a die made, a press tool that kind of rolls the edge over whenever you press it.
That's too cool.
So anyway, that would be something really fun to learn how to make.
Yeah.
And you make your own little tooling to press it together. You know, you can design the artwork, and you know, you have printing companies print out the paperwork, and then you press it together.
Yeah.
Boom. There's your handmade chart.
Well, we're doing it because I just have to. I mean, I don't know what the pricing is going to end up being for these. I don't care. I'm just going to do it because I think it's totally cool. But this is I think it's sort of nice to look at it from just a different perspective. Like it's so many years older now, and it's incredible. I mean, they're just so beautiful.
I don't know when Starrett made those. If I had to guess, that would have been maybe the 60s, 70s era, maybe a little older. I don't know. Those could have very well been stuck in a filing cabinet for decades.
They look brand new. They look like they were just printed.
Yep. That would be one to talk to the fella at Starrett. I can't remember his name.
Oh, the guy in the
museum.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I cannot remember his name.
I can't either.
But
I'm so bad with names.
He was in the museum video that we did at Starrett.
Yes.
And he's the curator of their museum there. But we got to go to the storage room where all of the historical artifacts are kept. We couldn't show that room because they didn't. I mean, it's not that they didn't want it showed, but he's like, there's things in here we don't necessarily want people to see.
Yeah.
And I'm talking books everywhere. It was like a library inside there.
I was physically like tearing up over it because it was the greatest thing.
But he would be somebody to ask about those. Like, when did Starrett make those? I guarantee he knows like when those were made and what they were intended for too.
Yes.
I know that they were made for educational purpose, but I'd love to know, were they intended to go to schools?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Did we ever show this?
I don't think we did.
This is something that I actually took from the tour. They
give it to you.
They gave it to me. Yeah, I did not steal. And these are their old boxes, I guess, that they use to get their products around. You explain that. I'm not doing a very good job.
It's just a wooden box that parts would go in during the manufacturing process. So I don't know. Tim would probably be able to tell us. That says half W.
Yeah.
So a specific part that Starrett was making would get stacked up into those wooden crates right there. It smells like oil, doesn't it? Cutting oil.
Good.
And those would get stacked up, and that's where all your inventory goes while it's waiting to go to the next process, basically. And those things have been around for decades.
Yeah, and they're
all
beautiful,
over the plant.
all in their own right.
I mean the
dovetail on there.
So many tools. So many tools have been in that.
Yes.
A lot of hands have touched them, and they have been a used tool in the Starrett manufacturing facility.
Yes.
And Tim gifted Abby with 2 of them while we were there.
Yes. That's one of my favorite things that I own now. I loved that tour, and I loved Tim and everything. So
yeah,
there isn't a place that I've been that I didn't love. So as far as just going into other people's shops, I think it's...
I'll add this. If you guys are ever interested in seeing the Starrett factory, they give tours to anyone. And they said you can... I may be wrong by saying this, but I believe you can go there and visit and walk in and ask, like, hey, can we get a tour? And they will make time. They will pull someone and take you on a tour. Now, it may be a condensed tour, but they will take you through there and show you their factory.
That old factory.
It's unbelievable.
Unreal.
And when you get to see it firsthand, you have a different respect for it.
Yeah.
And you don't want anything to happen to that place. It's got so much history there.
Oh, I would cry.
And so many people are working there trying to keep that alive. The tool making in America alive, and Starrett's the perfect place for that. So I love Starrett. It's a heritage tool for me. My granddad used, my dad used, so many millions of machinists have used, and they have been really great to work with. Form a business friendship with, and be able to tour their facility. We've absolutely loved, working with them.
Yes, we have.
But we're going to keep talking about tools on this episode,
yes,
right?
We are.
Let me go to my notes here.
Your handy dandy list.
Yep.
You know what I found? I don't know what order we're doing this in, but I want you to talk about this Lufkin that I have.
Yeah.
Because I think that this Lufkin is probably one of the coolest things that I've ever seen. It's old. I don't know how old, so I'm going to have to try to research that. We have Lufkin books.
I don't know how old it is, but yeah, so this would be a great, those Lufkin books
Yeah.
right there on that shelf. This is what we were talking about. When you find an old tool that you know is not produced anymore,
Yeah.
you can open up some of them really old catalogs and find this. So this one right here is a Lufkin, and let me find the number on it again. I'm sorry. It's a number 17, and it can be used as a hook rule, 6-inch hook rule, but it's also a slide caliper. Look at that.
That is just the coolest.
And it has been, it's so finely made that you can't even tell, if you're looking at this side, you can't even tell that it's a slide rule. That's a slide caliper right there. And it fits together
and
so
goes
nicely.
right into the pocket, doesn't it?
It just fits together so nicely. Brass and wood. And I don't remember what toolbox I found this in. I mean, this is just one that I discovered in all the tools over the years, and I knew it had significance to it, that, you know, this is a very old tool. It needs to be saved and not just forgotten about and thrown away. So I put it in one of the drawers that had all of my 6-inch rules in there, and that's where it was at until you found it and you pulled it out of there.
Well, it had to come inside here because, again, I mean, what beautiful craftsmanship on that. And it fits perfectly. It's just...
It's like it was lapped almost. I mean,
it's just absolutely beautiful. And I look for Lufkin anyway because I think that rules and tapes and everything are just so pretty. And levels. I also really kind of have a thing for levels.
Well, I've always liked the Lufkin Precision tools. They made all the same tools that Starrett, Brown and Sharp. They all kind of made the same things. And, you know, Lufkin, like many others, just did not survive. They're still around, but all they make now is tapes, tape measures. It's just not the same thing like, you know, the heritage tools there. But Lufkin, I've got a few Lufkin tools, and I think that they're beautiful made tools, just like an old Starrett tool, you know. So there's a lot of love to be had in the old Lufkin tools, you know,
Definitely.
The vintage ones.
And I hope that if you're out antiquing and you see one of these, you'll pick it up for yourself because that is just...
Absolutely.
I think this is going to be a new thing that I really, really search for, along with the leg calipers, which I also truly
We always
love.
look for those.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have found 2 in all the searching, just 2. But yeah.
So going back to what Abby was saying earlier, we had a fantastic time in the shop, had a couple of cold Coors, and Abby was going through what I consider my machinist toolbox. And it was a toolbox that Dad and I bought from a retired machinist really just up the road from us here. And that's the box that I've always worked out. Now, I've worked out of all the toolboxes, but that's the one that I considered mine. Dad helped me buy it. You know, it was a Kennedy toolbox, you know, the complete 3-piece set, roller box, and the 0 to 6-inch mic set that he had there with it too. I don't even remember how much we paid for it. I want to say something like $800 or so is what.
And it was packed full of,
it was full of tools.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was full of tools, but you know, it was stuff that he didn't need anymore. He didn't use it anymore. He had been kind of long retired. And the box was just, it was in his little single car garage there. You know, I could tell that it hadn't been gone into in a long time. And he just wanted to let it go.
Yeah.
And
well, it went to the right person. I mean, you have loved those tools. So
yeah, absolutely. So that was one of the boxes that we didn't go through the first time. And Abby got to go through there because there was a lot of those slide calipers, those little charts, those little helpful charts. A lot of that was in there.
I couldn't believe how much was in there.
Yep.
And I mean, I got to go ahead and give a big shout out to this little book that I found, which of course, paper products are by far my favorite. That's just what I look for. But this is a dictionary of metalworking terms, and boy, do I need this.
I think it would be great if you randomly open that up and give the audience a couple of random terms from that book.
All right.
And while you're picking one, I'll just tell you, that was the one thing that was given to me by Mike. Mike used to work for us too. He worked for my dad, worked in the shop. And I mean, I think he was with us for a couple of years. And we didn't mention him in the previous episode when we talked about Sonny and Junior. Mike kind of came along after Sonny and Junior were gone and worked with us for maybe no more than 2 years. And during that time, he gave me that book. And he told me, he goes, now you can't say I never did give you anything. So what'd you find?
All right, so I'm just randomly choosing one. How about side milling cutter?
Go for it.
A cutter designed to cut both on the periphery, and the sides, usually used in straddle milling operations.
Exactly.
So I have to go back and look at straddle milling now to know what that means.
Go for it.
And that's the problem with this and me trying to learn. But okay, let me see if it's in here.
Think Curdy & Trecker.
I mean, keep going because
it's a great tool for another term in there that you could find as gang milling.
Yes.
It's when you take the milling cutters like that and you stack them together, and when it gets run over your workpiece, you're cutting that entire profile in one pass.
Wow.
Yep.
All right. Well, okay, so what was it again?
Straddle. you were going to look at straddle milling,
straddle
right?
milling.
Did you find it?
I found it. Straddle milling.
Go ahead.
Using 2 or more milling cutters to perform several milling operations simultaneously.
Yep.
Simultaneously.
Yep.
All right.
So horizontal milling, I believe
Let's see if gang milling is in here too.
a horizontal.
Oh, it is.
A horizontal mill. Go ahead.
Gang milling. Mm-hmm. Using 2 or more milling cutters on an arbor to machine more than one surface simultaneously.
Yep.
Gang tool and gang drill or gang drilling machine is in here too. This is fun. So I
Yeah.
can't wait to go through this.
There's a lot of cool stuff in there.
So now when he speaks to me, I can just silently be like, okay, what did he just say?
There's a lot of really good, helpful information in these old books around here. And, we basically have a very small library of books now. And you could keep yourself busy forever reading these books and learning a lot from them as well.
Yeah, and we have several of these. I thought it was a notepad. So it's a Morse practical or machinist practical guide, and it's Morse twist drill, New Bedford, Mass. And it is absolutely packed full of information here. And I had no idea. I just thought that this was going to be a notepad. A notepad, because it has what are these called?
The spiral.
The spirals at the top,
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, well, no, it's completely full of really great information. So
yeah, it's a little helper guide for any machinist.
Basic thread dimensions.
I don't know if a lot of people use those anymore, but I mean the information in there is still completely relevant.
Yeah.
But those were the kind of things that I guarantee you Morse cutting tools printed those and handed them out.
Without a doubt.
That was something that they probably did for customers to put in the hands of their customers and all the machinists on the floor using their tools. And it was a quick guide that you could go in if you were trying to find some information on surface speed, for drills, for turning tools, for milling cutters. All kind of formulas are in there. Just a lot of helpful information. But show them the graphic on the front of that. I mean, that is what is missing with logos today is things like that. Look at that drill and the chips coming off of it. It's just beautiful.
When I first, when my parents had owned their marketing agency for over 40 years. And when I was a kid, we had an artist that we didn't have computer graphics. You had to hand draw everything. So when I look at these, I know that each of one of these has been hand drawn by an artist. And I think that that's the reason that I love it so much. I mean, the fonts that are on here, handmade by an artist.
Yep.
They had to put them in, place them in. I don't know. I just think that that's just what makes these even better than they already are.
I agree, and that's what I love about going through some of the old books that we have. I have one over there. It's Go and Go, which is Goddard and Goddard. That's not a brand that you hear about a whole lot, but that book, the catalog photos in that book are beautiful, and it's all that hand-drawn artwork that you're talking about.
Yeah, I think that we're going to have to make something that's in regards to that kind of thinking because it's just absolutely so beautiful. And again, it needs a nod to remember how great these things were, back in the day.
We said it in the beginning. The first episode, we want to preserve the heritage of machining and manufacturing.
Yes.
While embracing the future.
Yes.
So this is just one way that we want to share our love for the history of machining and manufacturing, is these old tools, these old catalogs.
Yes.
All this old stuff. It's just beautifully made, just like the stuff that you make on the machines, you know.
All right. All this history perfectly leads us into talking about Gerstner.
Heck yeah. So Gerstner is another company that we absolutely love, and their products are absolutely loved by
Yes.
me and many other people.
But we found some stuff while we were going through the shop, so we
Yeah.
definitely wanted to get this in because...
Right. So we found some paperwork, and if you guys watching will be able to see this, but if you're not watching, we can, we're certainly going to talk about it. So Gerstner and Sons was started, I believe it was 1908. I apologize if I'm wrong on that, but I believe it was 1908. Mr. Gerstner started making tool chests, wooden tool chests. And he got so good at it and got so popular at it that he ended up turning that into a business in Dayton, Ohio. And they are still in that original building and have added on
absolutely gorgeous again. Incredible.
another beautiful facility that has so much history to it. So they're well over 100 years old now, and they build beautiful handmade wooden tool chests, tool boxes, if you will. And they've recently started venturing in some other things that they're building now. I think they just got into like live edge tables. So I believe they're trying to evolve into other things in the market instead of just tool chests. But the thing about Gerstner is that they're definitely an heirloom type product. Okay, a lot of machinists over the years have invested in Gerstner toolboxes and tool chests, and sadly, a lot of these toolboxes end up in an antique store or estate sale. Because people pass away and the families, it doesn't mean anything to them, so they ended up selling it. But other people find them and they absolutely love them. So they've turned into a collector's item. And I have found three Gerstner chests. And the one that we're going to talk about is it's not the latest one; it's the middle one. But this particular tool chest I bought from Van at Bay Tool, which is here in Pensacola.
I hope we get to go talk to him. I want to interview him.
Yeah, we would like to go and talk to Van and ask him would he be interested or willing to be on camera with us?
Yeah. And
maybe do a little tour of his shop. Old school machine shop. But anyway, I was visiting him a while back. This was probably back in 2018 or so, and going through there. And I happened to notice a Gerstner tool chest over on a shelf by a wall covered in dust. I asked him if he would be willing to sell it. And he says, make me an offer. I made him an offer. Wasn't that much. And he said, take it. So I gave him the money, and I took that Gerstner tool chest home. And there was nothing wrong with it at all, except for the fact that there was some V-blocks being stored in the drawer that holds the the machiner's handbook. And it's real common. People stack these tool chests full of real heavy tools. Eventually, they start sagging a little bit in the middle. So the drawers started getting a little tight. They're rubbing together. But anyway, I ended up reaching out to Gerstner about possibly collaborating together. And they loved the idea. And they said, we would love to restore that toolbox for you. And on top of that, we talked to them about, is it possible for us to come up there and visit and get a video of the factory there? And that's kind of started this whole partnership with Gerstner, is the restoration of the toolbox and then being able to go visit and do a factory tour. So that is another one of our favorite factory tours that we have on our YouTube channel.
My goodness.
We encourage you to check it out. It is absolutely beautiful there. It's another American company with American workers that are craftsmen and craftswomen building these wooden tool chests to support their business, to support their families. And it's an heirloom. If you buy a Gerstner, you're going to have it with you for the rest of your life. You can pass it on to your kids or whoever you want it to go down to, perfect for machinists, but you know what? They're great for everyone. It doesn't matter what you want to use the toolbox for. They have some smaller ones that they've created that you can use for your everyday items, like your timepieces, your jewelry, necklaces, rings. They have the little Just Right box for people to store that stuff in there. For artists to store their little art tools in. They used to make boxes for dentists back in the day. The dentists would have their tools in there. So they're really made for all kind of industries, but I think they're probably best known for being machinist toolboxes because they do work really well for precision tools. Because they're made out of wood, they do help with like moisture, and keeping the rust away from your tools. All the drawers are felt lined, they're all hand fitted together. If you pull the drawers out of a Gerstner, you're going to see some handwriting numbers on the back of the drawer, and they do that during their manufacturing to keep the sets together. And they have little gauges and stuff they go over, and they sand these drawers, they fit them and get them to the tolerance of their gauges. It's just nothing but craftsmanship goes into all these toolboxes, right? So we sent mine up there, and the fella, I believe it was Mike. I don't want to say, I believe it was Mike. But the interesting thing about that is that whenever he finished restoring that toolbox is when he announced his retirement. I mean, he'd been there a very long time, and he
like
was
40 years,
he was
wasn't
an older,
it? I mean,
he was an older fella.
Yeah.
And he ended up retiring after he finished restoring that toolbox. But we got to go up there and tour the factory and had the best time.
Yeah, we did.
But going back to some of the stuff that we had found, I'm going to kind of hold this up. This was paperwork that was in the Gerstner tool chest that I bought from Van. And it's got some stuff that Gerstner, had sent someone. And this is Ms. Catherine Barnes, and she resided here in Pensacola. And this letter right here is from 1992. And the letter was written by Jane Ellis, sales manager at H. Gerstner and Sons Incorporated. I was wrong on the date. I said 1908. It's 1906.
Okay.
Is when they were founded. So anyway, she must have reached out to Gerstner acquiring some information on this toolbox. That's the only thing that I can get out of this letter. We are proud of the products we build and are pleased that we have earned your interest. H. Gerstner and Sons was founded over 80 years ago, and this was in 92, as a manufacturer of wood tool chests built for the careful storage of precision measuring instruments. Today, in addition to Gerstner tool chests, we now offer a wide variety of wood chests and cases built especially for those individuals who appreciate fine quality. I have enclosed literature describing some of the more popular styles. In addition, information has been enclosed on our new Pro Series 1, the 92XL, and the B92XL. These new chests will be available late 92 or early 1993. Thank you again. I hope to hear from you soon. So I guess Miss Barnes must have reached out asking about some information on these tool chests, and they sent some. So here's another, piece of literature on the tool chest right here. Just going to keep going through these. Some more information, and then
I love it when people save paper. You get so much information.
I guess you could put in an order, and mail it into them. Sorry, no CODs. So you better have you a check in the envelope whenever you send this up there. And then this is another letter printed out from Gerstner. It's just got a bunch of information. It's got a lot of really cool, helpful information on the back. It's got their hours on there of the operations.
That is pricing on the other side, isn't it?
Yeah, you got some pricing on
there. Is that like
here.
a receipt?
Yeah. Replacement parts list for Gerstner tool chest, June 1, 1990 is what this is right here. So let's see. A mirror and frame, which is one of the popular things that is sort of iconic to a Gerstner. When you flip open that top lid, you're going to have a diamond-shaped mirror. And that was $15 to replace that. Oh. And it's just so all the hardware that goes into one of those standard tool chests is listed right here. And then we have another one right here. Okay, so this is a price list for a tool chest. They have one circled, G052, so a number 52 style tool chest, was $530 at that time. This is from 1992, this one right here. On sale for $424.
Well,
yeah.
Purchase.
So anyway, we'll go through. Here's another, cool one that they had listed, in this lot of paperwork, and I think I showed all of it there. So anyway, that was really cool finding this in that tool chest.
Yes.
It was in the very top drawer. Finding it whenever I brought it home, and so this will be preserved. This is really cool stuff. I bet you the guys up there at Gerstner would love to see this.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll reach out to them and
Yeah.
let them know about that. So that was pretty cool.
But the fact that it stayed with the box is so great, and it will go back in the box
Yep.
and stay there. And
yeah, Abby wanted to bring it in just for us to kind of mention this and preserve this little tiny piece of history of Gerstner.
Yeah.
And as she said, we'll go ahead and put it back in that chest, and it'll live there, hopefully forever.
so let's move on to things that go into the chest.
Go for it.
Because while we were doing our little shopping spree, we came across two items that both have handmade cases.
Yep.
Handmade by someone. So I'm going to let you talk about what these are and the cases because they're great.
Right. Okay. So you want me to do it? Mm-hmm. All right. We'll start with this guy right here. You guys watching, you're probably wondering what the heck this is. It's just a piece of copper tubing is really what it is. As you can hear, something's in it. And if you tip it up and slide it out, we have a 12-inch hook rule, a narrow hook rule. And this one, let me see, this one is a Lufkin rule company made in Saginaw, Michigan. And I cannot remember exactly, but I want to say it was original to that toolbox that I told you that Dad and I bought from the retired machinist. I believe that was Jones. I believe it was Mr. Jones is who that was. And if I'm right and this came out of that toolbox, this is just a very simple case that he designed for his investment that he bought, which was this 12-inch narrow hook rule.
It is really narrow.
I absolutely love these rules.
Yeah.
So I can't really tell. So I was completely wrong on on who this belonged to, and now it's even better than I thought. So this was owned by Mr. Rozicki. Do you remember me telling you about Rozicki?
I do.
Mr. Rozicki, he was gone before my time. Okay, he was a pretty old man, well before I was ever born. And Dad, he must have been really close to Dad. He was a machinist and a welder. And I remember Dad telling me several times about Mr. Rozicki helping around the shop. Mr. Rozicki was the one that fabricated the jib crane that was in front of our shop. They got plans on that jib crane. It was a Navy plan. They got it. My granddad got it from the Navy base, and they used these prints and fabricated that jib crane out front. And Rozicki, Mr. Rozicki, was the one that built it. And so I have a few tools around the shop that have the name Rozicki engraved on there, and this being one of them. And I did not realize that was his.
So that means he made that. That's
Mr. Rozicki made this little case right here. How cool is that?
I love the little envelope end.
Yeah,
he just pinched
pinched
it.
the end probably with a vise.
Yeah.
Just close the end up. And how simple is that you can take your little narrow 12-inch hook rule and slide it right in there, and it's protected.
And anything else in the box isn't scratching it and scraping it. And
Exactly.
That's totally genius.
So that's pretty cool. Like I said, I've got a few tools. And so Mr. Rozicki give Dad his machinist tools. And so around the shop in some of the toolboxes, you'll find some tools that has his name on it. I've got some parallels that were his. And I know there's some other tools that I can't think of right now, but there's a few floating around the shop.
It is amazing that you can take something that they made so many of, and that one is special. You know, I again, the history of this stuff is so great.
Absolutely. Okay.
All right, so we've got one more here. of this handmade case. So talk about that one.
Yeah, so we've got another measuring tool here, and this one I bought myself at the local flea market. This is one that I had found, and if we slide it out of the case here, what we have is an 18-inch rule, and this particular make is a Miller's Falls. Not a lot of people are probably familiar with the Miller's Falls, but they were another company just like Starrett, just like Lufkin and Brown and Sharp, that made a lot of high quality precision tools. They also made some power tools as well. They made like pestle grinders and drills, hand drills. But anyway, this is a beautiful rule that Miller's Falls made, 18-inch in length. And I bought it at the flea market, and one of the things that I absolutely loved about it was this handmade leather case. So again, this is a tool that somebody invested in because, these weren't exactly that cheap, and they wanted to protect it. But how cool is it that somebody just decided to get some leather and just stitch this together and make their own case, So it's sewed together. You have a button snap on this end. And
it's so cool.
But Abby saw that in the drawer, and she thought it was awesome.
It is awesome.
And I always liked it because it did. You put it in that, you snap it closed, you put it in your machinist toolbox, and it's protected from other tools, so it's not going to get scratched and marred up.
But people also know that that's yours. You know what I mean? If it's in the box, someone else is in there, then they know, okay, well, I'm not going to touch that one. That one does not belong to me, although they still might.
But this is cool, just making your own case. This is one of those things that, again, it reminds me of Jimmy, because this is the kind of stuff he does. Not because it's a necessity, not necessarily something that you want to do.
No, because he wants to make it.
Because you just want to learn how to do something. This would be fun to learn how to do.
Yes.
Is to make some of your own leather cases for some of your tools.
Agreed.
Because it's just that's part of the therapeutic thing of a shop is going out and enjoying it and making things.
Yes.
But anyway, Abby saw that in the toolbox there, and she thought it was totally cool. So
cool.
we thought we'd bring it in and talk about it. What else do you have on the list for us to discuss?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I know that you wanted to talk about your 120 caliper.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a different jump, but you want to go into that?
Yeah, we'll go into that. So one of the ideas that we had for our podcast is, and this may not be every single episode, maybe it is. Abby wanted me to maybe talk about a specific tool, and I thought that, especially like if there's a tool that I use in a recent video, maybe the video that week, the YouTube video that I use, maybe that gives us an opportunity to talk about it a little bit more on the podcast. So I brought a couple in here that are tools that I not only use, I actually absolutely love them. But the first tool that I thought would be a really great starting point for this is the Starrett number 120 dial caliper. This is the dial caliper that is made in USA in Athol, Massachusetts. And we actually got to see where these calipers were made.
Yes.
You have a lot of women out there on this factory line. These are all handmade. I mean, some of the parts obviously were made on some of their screw machines. They have little pieces that are machined, but these calipers are handmade. They're hand fitted. They're put together. There was a guy setting up the calipers to do the lapping of the jaws. We got to go talk to a couple of the women that were assembling these calipers, that were polishing and deburring them, and then checking the calibration of them. These are truly made in America right here, and I believe these are the only ones that are made in the USA. Is the Starrett number 120 dial caliper. You can get them in a few sizes. I have them in the 6-inch and the 12-inch. They're beautifully crafted tools. They have a nice smooth feel to them, and I just love them.
And that is the one that you're going to use to teach me how to read that properly.
Exactly.
And we are going to do a video on that because I want him to do a series where if I'm learning, maybe some of you out there might want to learn along with me. So we are going to start getting into that because I got to use the mill for the first time last week.
How'd you enjoy that?
It was so great. I mentioned it, if you saw the reel, that I thought that the machine did more of the work. I did not realize that you're putting your body weight into that. That's incredible, really. But being able to, I'm sorry, I know that this is the most basic thing, drilling in the mill.
It was your first time.
It was just great.
She was drilling so the first hole was 3/8 in diameter. And then after that, you went back into that hole, and then you had to drill tap size for 5/16 18. So you were using a letter F drill, which I believe is .257. But that was your first time drilling a hole in a milling machine, first time pulling a quill, the handle for the quill, and you were thinking that it was going to be a little less effort to pull that handle, huh?
I really did. I thought the machine was going to do more of the work, and obviously it does, and it's amazing.
And it can if you engage the power feed.
Sure.
But we're teaching you how to use the machine.
Exactly, and I like that though, because I got muscles to give. I'm fine with that, but I thought it was really cool. And he talks about the feel all the time, and you can't understand what that means until you feel it yourself. So I want more now. I want to learn more.
Us manual machinists, that's one thing that we refer to a lot is the feel. For me, it's the letting the machine talk to you. So it's not only the feel, it's the sounds too. With modern machining, with our CNC machines, it's all about the sound. You're listening for that sound. You're listening for that change in sound. When you're thinking that doesn't sound right, something's wrong over there. You have to run back to it. But when you're on a manual lathe, when you're a manual mill, you're feeling the machine. So for you could feel that cut in the handle, couldn't you?
Yes.
You could feel the pressure that it took to drill that hole,
yes.
right? It's the same feeling that you will have if, let's say, your cutting edge is burned up and the drill wasn't cutting anymore, because you would have been trying to pull that handle or push it even more, and it wouldn't have been making a chip, or you might have been seeing smoke starting to come out of it because you're burning up the drill. That's part of the feel, and that's one of the things that you really don't get a lot of whenever you're operating the CNC mill.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
Nope.
This isn't a comparison of what's better.
No.
This is only the difference in what you learn by using each kind of machine.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a great thing to take you through the shop and little by little try to teach you, try to train you, to get you familiar with the machines so that you know how to use them as well.
Yeah.
You can go out there and make a part if you want to. And that's what we're going to keep doing. We're going to keep teaching you. So I'd like to teach you how to use all of your most basic machinist precision tools, a caliper, a micrometer, a depth mic, rules, if you will, and dial calipers as well, test indicators. Dial indicators is what I meant to say, and a test indicator. I'd like to teach you how to use those things. A height gauge is another great one to learn. So we're going to try to teach Abby. We're not going to try. We are. We're going to teach you how to use some of these tools, and she would like to maybe make that a little video series that we can share there as well. It's more of a basic educational type format where we can teach you one tool at a time, how to use a tool, capture that on video, and share that. And I think that might be helpful to other people, even down the road. Somebody that finds that video that wants to learn how to use a dial caliper.
Yeah, because we've heard people say all the time, I watched this video and it solved a problem for me, but sometimes it's a little, there's so many really, really great pieces of information kind of buried in a video sometimes. Yep. And so I want to try to pull it out. So if you want to search for something specific, then the video is just about that. And then
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
It allows it to be a lot more easily searchable on YouTube when you're trying to find one specific subject instead of it being buried in a project video.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of separate that. What are you doing?
I'm still looking at things centers. You talk about centers all the time. So
yeah.
Lathe accessories, which are mounted in the headstock and tailstock to support the work. The 60-degree included angle of the pointed ends fit into center drilled holes in the workpiece.
You've heard me mention center drills before, right?
A lot.
So you use a center drill to drill a center in the end of usually it's the end of a piece of a material that you're going to put in the lathe. But you'll also find tools that have centers drilled in them also, because they would a lot of tools that were made were being held between centers. That's what puts it on the center axis to rotate. So you would find centers in tools, and you'd find centers in shafts that had been turned in the lathe. It's a really important aspect of machining for lathe work. If you're going to turn a longer shaft, you have to have centers in there to be able to support the material. You just randomly open that book up and found something that you...
I mean, it's every time I open it, I'm going to keep it right here on this desk. I do have a couple of his books that we'll go through in another episode that have been really, really helpful for me.
You've been liking those books.
I've been reading them and enjoying them a lot. And again, I mean, I love that I have this dictionary now because I have to look words up all the time. Just simple things that I'm like, oh, I don't know what that means.
I love that you found that book, because you see, I forgot about it.
Yeah.
And that goes into what I was saying before about this room.
Yeah.
Is that I actually like this new way of preserving these artifacts from the shop, if you will, is because they get put in the toolboxes and you don't necessarily ever go back and use it. Maybe you do, but a lot of this stuff just gets buried in the drawer, forgotten about. You don't reference it anymore. You don't use it for reference anymore. The tools aren't necessarily used a lot anymore because you've got other tools that do the same job. And so this is a great way to preserve those and teach you about a lot of these machinist tools used in the shop.
Well, people love to talk about what they're passionate about. We've talked about it in other episodes. So, I mean, getting to listen to you talk about your stories about these things is the reason I'm here. I love it.
This stuff that you see behind us in this room, these are the kind of things that we look for when we're antiquing. When we go to an antique store or an antique mall, I mean, sure, it's loaded up with stuff. And it's pretty rare that we go through and find a booth or stuff that we actually enjoy looking for. But when we find things, it's like this kind of stuff. That's what we're hunting.
I'm like on a mission now, because it's like once I realized that I could find the charts and, some tooling, I only really wanted to look at your stuff. I do have a regret. I have a regret of not something that I did not buy, and it hurts my stomach to think about. And I don't even know if you remember this, but it was Chattanooga. We were in Chattanooga, and it was that really big antique store.
Was it the model?
The model.
Was it the model?
It was a machine shop model. Yeah. It was expensive, and we just didn't have a lot of space. So it was
like a.
It was probably 18 inches long.
It was a bench top size model.
It was absolutely gorgeous, and I seriously regret not getting it. But I hope that it went to someone that is a machinist. So that's all. I have to say yes, that's what it did.
I remember it, and it was a model of a machine shop.
Yes.
It had like a lathe on it, a mill, a shaper. Very small, all belt driven.
I would absolutely love to make one of those sometime. I would absolutely love to. I'm obsessed with models, and anything that's smaller or giant, but way bigger than it should be, it absolutely cracks me up. So I like to look for that kind of thing. But anyway, I regret not buying that.
Well, I think it'd be something fun for you to do at some point whenever you want to, because why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? I agree. I agree.
And there's a lot of guys out there, a lot of men and women who enjoy models, and there's a lot of really talented people out there that create models of machine tools. And, I'm a machinist myself, and I don't ever think about making a model of a machine tool. So when I see these models that they have created, I'm like inspired myself, because they put so much effort into these things that some of them are made so well that you could actually use them to machine something. That's how well that they're made, So seeing a model of a milling machine or a lathe, it's always fun seeing those. So I respect the folks that enjoy spending their free time creating.
You can just stop right there, just creating. Yes, it's so great. I hate that I don't spend more time doing that. I make a lot of art. I have to get out of my body, or I just would explode. So I do a lot of art.
You do create. We have, in the evening times, we usually watch TV for an hour or two before we, go to bed. And Abby's got her books that she colors in. Mm-hmm. I don't know what kind of book that is.
It's an adult coloring book, most of them. But I have really started to make my own. But right now I'm doing color book because I found a new one, because I actually cleaned and found one that I hadn't, used in a while. And I have started to label them now when I finish what I'm doing. And it's nice to look back because, there were some in there from like 2014. And I'm like, wow, I've been doing this a long time.
You have been doing it a while.
Yeah.
And I've watched you do that for years now. And it's something, it's going back to that therapy. It's therapeutic.
Yes, it is my therapy for sure.
Abby enjoys it whenever we're camping. When we go travel and we're camping, and when we have days where we get to just sit out in our chair and enjoy the scenery, enjoy the peace and quiet, and maybe cook barbecue that day. When she doesn't have anything to do, that's what she wants to do, is set up in her chair, and usually got some music playing, and she is coloring in those
or
books.
making my own drawings, because that's what I've really been into lately. But yeah, it is my therapy, and I'm not going to stop. I can't. But I want to do more stuff. Like, there is a thing that I want to refinish for the shop. I have never refinished anything in my life. Every single day I'm doing things that I've never done before. So I'm like, why not? Why not just refinish this? So yeah, I'm going to go get the stuff and I'm going to try to paint some kind of booth machine shop thing for for our cabinet. So
it's just a simple hardwood cabinet that we got for free that was going to get thrown away. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of a thin one, so it's a great one for for the bathroom.
Yeah.
And it's just raw wood. So Abby wanted to save it and stain it or paint it or something.
Yep. Well, I need to spray paint something. I don't know what, but I really want to spray paint something. But that's not what I'm going to do with that. I'm actually going to try to make that into a tag or just have your name on it or something. I haven't decided, but
I can't wait to see what you come up with.
I'm going to do that, and I'll probably share it on Adventures. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, we got a couple more things on our little talking list here that we wanted to mention. And I wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of an update on our Abom79 drill index and kind of where we are on that at this time of recording. They're kicking along nicely, and I am well into the next batch of 100. So, basically we have 200 units now that we're going to be selling eventually, and I'm halfway through. So I just finished Op 1 on the second lot of 100. So now I've got to reset the machine for Op 2, but I'm wanting to go ahead and try to get my quad station figured up. That's what I wanted to do to improve, was instead of just holding 2, now I want to hold 4 at one time, 4 per setup. And so that's what I'm going to work on next. So we're in the middle of that. Hopefully we're going to get to that pretty soon. But we're still working on all of the things that it's going to take to be able to sell these to customers, So our biggest holdup that we have had so far has been anodizing. And it's been...
I was not expecting that to be our holdup. Out of all the things that we've been doing over the last several months, that's not what I was expecting.
So I was hoping we were going to be further along than we are, but we're making progress, and we're in a good place right now. We started off with one anodizing shop, and we sent them the samples, and they did the samples.
They were beautiful.
It took a little while, but we got the samples done, and they turned out beautiful. It's on the recent YouTube video. But I don't think that they're interested in doing those. That just did not work out, okay? Never got pricing from them.
We don't know the reason, and that's okay. Everybody has their own reason. He may just be overloaded with work. I get that.
And I heard that he is very, very busy, so he probably didn't want to take on the extra workload, but it was the communication thing there that kind of got to me. I start getting frustrated when I get a lack of communication. And it's a common problem. I deal with it all the time now, where I'm not getting communication back in a timely manner, which I think they should. And so when I get to that point, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to move on from this conversation because that's holding me up. I'm going to find someone else to work with.
It's weird because we went through that period of time for work where it was like everybody answered immediately.
Yeah.
It was like as soon as you sent it, somebody was responding to you. And now it's like crickets. And I'm okay with that to some regard because we've talked about this so many times, but the whole time thing, people use your time in the way you want to use your time. I am a big proponent of that. But when it comes to business, you gotta respond to people. Even if you're saying, I can't get to it, I'm so, tell people the truth about it. But I don't know what his circumstances are or anyone's.
Yeah.
So we're not judging that. We're just moving on.
I would rather anyone tell me, Adam, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. I'm going to pass on this. I've done it to many people.
Not because you didn't want to.
People have sent me emails about jobs that they've asked me to do. And sometimes these are not jobs that I want to get involved with because it's a little bit out of my element, or it's something that they need done right away. And I try to tell them, I'm like, I can't do this in the timely manner that you're asking. I've got to pass. I'm sorry. But I'll respond and I'll tell people that. I'm sorry, I can't do that.
You don't want to leave people hanging.
Yeah. And so I ask people to do the same thing for me. If I'm asking you to do a job for me, if you can't do it, or even if you don't want to, just be honest. Be a man about it and say, can't handle this right now. I'm going to pass on this. So anyway, that's what we did. And we started researching other anodizing shops. A couple of them were suggested. Thanks, Alex. I appreciate it. But we reached out to another anodizing shop, and actually Abby did. Abby sent an email, and within an hour, they called us and sent us an email back.
I was shocked.
I couldn't believe it.
I was like,
I said, didn't you just email these guys, this anodizing shop? And I missed his phone call. So I was able to email him back, and I was able to call him and get in touch with the guy. And we have been in constant communication ever since then and discussing anodizing our drill indexes. And right now, there's 20 of them. I'm sorry, there's 22 of them that's being sent there. They should have them tomorrow at the time of this recording. And they're going to try to work those samples. These are just test samples.
Yeah.
They're going to try to work these first 22 through the line quickly as test samples, get them back to us so we can see what the end product is going to look like, and then be able to make a decision right there. They've actually already give us a quote on what it's going to cost to do the clear anodizing and to do the color anodizing. And going into it, I didn't think that there was going to be a price difference between the two, and there is. And the clear, without any media blasting, is probably one of the least expensive anodizing that you can do. Whenever you want to go with media blasting to etch the surface and then do a color anodizing, it adds to the cost.
We've learned a lot about anodizing, haven't we?
Yeah.
I like that, though.
We continue to.
Yeah. Again, every single day we're like, do we know how to do that? No. We're just going to go ahead and just dive in. Here we go.
Yeah. So that's part of business, right? We got to figure it out.
Yeah. You say you know how to do it, you'll do it, and then you figure it out.
But these folks have been great to work with. They have been engaged. They respond in a timely manner. When I send them an email, they're emailing back within a couple of hours, answering my question. We've been kind of going back and forth, asking questions, and they were able to look. I sent them a simple print of the part. That's how they wanted to quote it, not just a photo. They said the quoting department needs to have a print here. It needs to have a part number. Thankfully, I started putting a part number on them. So they're legit, and they worked the quote real quick. And they're going to do the samples, and I think they're going to follow up and make sure that they're comfortable with the quote on doing these. And I'm hoping that it's going to work out, and we're going to be able to crate up our batch of 100 at a time, send them up there, and get them anodized.
I'm not going to say what color it is, but I got one in there that's just for me because I wanted to see what it looked like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think that there's going to have to be some Abby made products.
Yep.
So that's something that I'd like to work on just because I am a maker too, and I want to start doing that. So
absolutely.
I've got some good ideas.
You're the other half of this business now. So I told Abby, I said, we're just trying to get our foot in the door right now with our product and hopefully get it out to customers. We're hoping that we're going to have people that want these products and want to purchase them from us to help support our business and continue to move forward we have different versions that we want to make.
We have so many cool things coming.
It's just going to take a little time. But going back to anodizing, I told Abby, I said, there's no reason why we can't have some special color releases, Yeah. Maybe we make a batch that's got this special color that's, for Abby. Maybe she wants to, have a specific color. So they can handle that. They can do custom colors, but they have a standard range of colors that is you can use. But when you get into custom colors, adds to the cost.
Well, I know that there are a lot of lady machinists out there that have to deal with all of these man tools, and no, I'm just kidding. They're all beautiful, but anyway, I think that I might like to make some things just for me and for some other, like I said, lady machinists.
And I think that it's okay to mention that Abby said that she would actually like to try to come up with her own drill index design as well.
I have already drawn it.
You have?
I have.
News to me.
I haven't shown you. No, because I'm still working on it.
Okay.
This is my process for design, at least. I have to think about it and draw it and figure out how I want to do it. So, but I'm excited, and I want a 3D printer like yesterday.
Yeah, that's something
that's something that we just haven't
we've
gotten
been holding out.
We have, and I have to have one. And the whole laser machine, I'm trying to learn about what I want for that as well. That's another huge rabbit hole.
Yeah, those are two machines that we are hoping to invest in soon. I know a 3D printer is that's starting to become one of the standard things that every shop has, and we've just been holding out.
Yeah. Well, we had one before, and it was amazing, but it was
complicated.
It was like going to space. I mean, it was not something I could do.
I think that they've come a long way in just these few years now. People are literally saying, you pull it out of the box, you plug it in, you import your file, boom, you're printing in 2 minutes. That's what we want.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I need this thing to be easy, and I'm excited about getting one because we're hoping that Abby's going to kind of take the lead on this. Mm-hmm. But I know that there's so many capabilities of 3D printing that we're not tapping into. I want to make some just simple organizers for the toolboxes.
Yes.
I want to make certain trays, that hold certain tools for our toolboxes. So, hopefully we'll eventually have 2 or 3 of them there that we can use to print things at any time that we want.
I promised my brother-in-law, Frank, that I would make him the porta potty on the 3D printer. It's a porta potty, and it has to be made.
Okay.
So I'm really excited about making that.
I wasn't in on this joke, so I don't know what it's referring to.
I know it's a G.I. Joe thing, and but it is a porta potty, and I think it has to be made. So that's going to be one of my first things that I make.
Very cool. Well, I mean, hopefully you can make you a cool porta potty on the 3D printer.
Again, because why not?
Because why not?
Yeah.
But we're gonna see about investing in some 3D printers. We want to see about investing in some kind of laser marking machine. We don't know there's a lot of them on the market now.
There are, and they do different styles. There are, and they do different things, and I want one that does all the things. Not one does all the things.
I think
so. I need more than one machine, and I'm just trying to decide what makes the most sense as far as just money wise. What size too. I mean, there's some that are the size of this room, and there are some that sit on a desktop. So I want to make the right choice for what I get. But again, rabbit hole.
I'm hoping that we can just start somewhere, maybe even one of the bench tops, where what I would like to eventually do is be able to put our drill indexes in there, and laser mark the bottom of them with all the data.
Yeah.
Because that's going to speed up production. It's going to reduce the whole cycle time on the machine where you're using the laser. And then I think it'll make it look a little bit nicer too, as far as how many characters and all the information that you want to put on there. So that's just something that we're going to be leaning into hopefully over the next few months or half a year or so. We're going to be figuring out about that.
I need twice as much time in a day right now is what I need. I need 2 more hands and arms and twice as much time in a day to get done all the things that I really want to do.
It goes pretty fast, especially when you work for yourself. You know, your time goes pretty quickly, and we're all.
And
the
time. Machine shop, by the way, it is a different flow than I am used to doing.
Yeah.
It is crazy how many times you have to change gears.
Yeah.
I had to do that all the time from my previous job, but it's not like it's not quite like this. This is a lot going on in a good way.
Yeah.
Not in a complaining way, and in a really good way. I've been, again, mushy brain. I have been working it, just learning and learning.
And speaking of working, today is actually Sunday.
Yes.
And so here we are.
Our one day that we have off.
Sunday is our one day that we like to try to consider being off. I like cooking barbecue, and we like watching NASCAR, which is typically on Sundays. But right now they're doing the Saturday night races. Like next weekend's going to be Daytona.
Woohoo!
So we have a whole day here we went back out to the shop to find a couple things. And Abby and I said, why don't we just go ahead and record a podcast today on our day off? So
and we got excited about these tools, because we went out there and shopped. And so, we really
exactly.
wanted to cover it.
But I wanted to mention one more thing that was on our list.
Yes.
And that's this over here behind me. I'm going to pull this bottle off the shelf of this, excuse my noisy chair, High West Bourbon. One of my personal favorite bourbons that I discovered through Abby whenever she found this at Hills and Hollows Market in Boulder, Utah Route 12.
You nailed it.
Did I get that right?
You nailed it. Yeah.
So anyway, I do love this bourbon. It's made in Park City, Utah. But this bottle right here is full of the aluminum chips, the first aluminum chips that came off of our drill indexes.
Yay.
And if you look closely, you'll see you have a coarse chip at the bottom and a finer chip at the top. These coarse chips at the bottom were from the prototypes that I machined using just a regular 3-flute end mill, and it made a lot of chips. So it made a lot of haystacking chips. And after those prototypes is when I got the chip splitter end mill, and that's what did all the roughing. And these are the finer chips from the chip
Completely
splitter.
different.
So I was able to fill up 2, I think it's 20-gallon trash cans from 5 drill indexes, this chip right here, and then we filled up 2 of the 33-gallon trash cans for making 100 of them.
Yeah.
That look like this right here. So huge difference in the chips that you get from a finishing mill versus a roughing and mill, if you will.
But that is how you learn right there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's exactly how
And
you
that's
learn.
one of the reasons why you kept it.
Yeah. And so these are the only chips from that. I just wanted, this is just for us, to, keepsake for us. Not only the bottle, but the chips from the first 100 drill indexes that we want to manufacture.
Yeah.
The rest of them are going to go to the scrapyard and get sold. So anyway, I did want to point that out, and I think preserving that in that High West is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. We are going to sell the bolts.
Yes.
Too. So that is also something, we do have some sets of those. So that's going to probably be first before the drill index.
Well,
maybe next week.
To be
I don't know.
Yeah, we were going to work on getting it out
Yeah.
there. To be more specific, what Abby's talking about, it's the bolts that I machined for the hardtail vise.
Yes.
These are flange bolts that I machined on the CNC lathe and the CNC mill. And it's one of the things that I wanted to make and be able to offer to sell people that own a hardtail vise. We still plan to do it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to wait until we get our slant bed lathe set up and operational. I learned how to run it efficiently and then start making some parts on that lathe there as well. But I did make a very small batch of them, and we've just been kind of holding those.
And there's some prototypes in there.
Yeah.
There's some that are made out of a little different material, but it's definitely a desk-worthy piece if you're not going to, if you don't have a hardtail. But
Well, there's some that are finished, made out of
Yes.
17-4 stainless steel with the washer. So we're going to sell those as a finished part that you can go and put into your hardtail vise. And I'm talking about the hardtail 612, I believe, which is the big one. But I made a bunch of sample pieces, and those were made out of 1018 cold rolled steel. So they're not real strong. They're not intended to be used as a clamping bolt. But I got a bunch of those that I made as I was trying to figure out the programming, tweak it, get it right. I had all this scrap cold rolled material that I just burned up making those. And so there's a handful of those, and those will be sold at a separate price because those are just something that somebody can have and put on their desk.
yes.
Well,
I think that pretty much wraps up our episode. This has been a fun one.
This has been good.
We just went off the rails in all directions, didn't we? But
We've had some great things to talk about.
Yeah. This is how we wanted this to go. So
And this is how we want all of our episodes to go. Abby and I just want to have a fun conversation and share this information with anybody else that wants to listen out there. But hopefully it's fun, engaging conversation that people can enjoy. I'm hoping you guys are out in the shop and you've got it on the speaker or maybe your headphones and you're enjoying.
I hope that they went out and they looked for some of these old boxes just so they could pull them out and appreciate them because
Yeah.
I know you have some in there. I know
There's a
you
lot
have
of-
them in your shop.
I'll validate that. There's a lot of guys listening, a lot of women listening that have these old toolboxes that you've acquired, and consider that. Go out there and looking at some of these old boxes. You might want to preserve them.
That's right.
Save them, because they're not going to be made like that anymore.
Which is just sad. But
You ready to wrap it up?
I think so. We really are going to go do the barbecue. So let's go do that.
I was going to mention too. We've got the hats.
If you noticed his hat, that is one that we put up on the shop on the website. So that's under the Abom merch, Abom79.com. We have several T-shirts. I did make a new one last week, the Support Your Local Machinist, and I think that's very cute. I have to order one for myself.
That was my idea.
It was. It certainly was.
That one.
Yep. And so we're going to just try to keep doing new ones all the time, and ones that come to mind. And I want to do some vintage ones, so that's something that I really want to work on.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot of cool things coming. I wish I could tell you more, but
we do. Abby's got a lot of things that she is continuing to work on behind the scenes, product things that we're going to be able to offer folks. A lot of things that are, I would consider more of a low cost thing that you can get. Merchandise type things. I believe you still have some of the older shirt designs that we still plan on re-releasing onto the website. And so Abby is just kind of slowly, one at a time, trying to get another shirt design added. But we talk about adding a lot of things to the store so that there's a lot of different little things that somebody can choose from.
Pricing is very weird right now. Doing the print on demand thing is very interesting right now. It's all very strange, and the shipping prices are just astronomical. We're trying our best to be competitive in that, but it's just just a huge weirdness to learn. So
you're learning.
We're learning.
You're figuring it out.
That's right. So if there's something that you guys want to see in the store other than the drill indexes, and they're coming, I promise.
We are going to publicly announce when we're ready to sell those.
Yeah,
we're gonna pick a date that they'll go on sale, and we will let people know when that's going to be so that everyone can prepare and be ready. Because I think we do have 100 customers out there. We've had a lot of great response from folks, and I've had a lot of people messaging me like, hey, I want to buy one of those. Will you let me know when they go on sale? And I just tell everybody the same thing. We're going to make it a public announcement.
Yeah.
Let everybody know when they're going to be available. And the reason why I'm holding that right now is because I want to be sure that this is a done deal. We don't have them anodized yet. I don't want to make an announcement until I know for sure that these things are going to be anodized and be ready to go. And in the meantime, we're still working on packaging, the box, the packing material. We're working on that behind the scenes and getting that figured out too.
Yes.
So once we get a little bit closer to the finish line there, we're going to let everybody know that, hey, they're going to be available to purchase on this date on the website, and hopefully everyone will get that information.
Yes. All right, I think we're done. Another good episode.
Sounds good. Well, let's go get the grill fired up. We're going to have some smoked shrimp today.
Shrimp. Ugh. That sounds so good, doesn't it?
Smoked buttery garlic shrimp, one of our personal favorites.
Yes, it is. I demanded it, actually, I think.
All right, guys, we hope you enjoyed this episode, and hope to have you back here on the next one. All right, we'll see you then.